إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله تعالى وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who is alone worthy of all praise. We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To Allah alone belongs the most beautiful names and attributes of complete perfection. And indeed, all thanks is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who is worthy of all praise and thanks, because He is the source of all blessings. And peace and salutations upon the Messenger of Allah, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent as a mercy to all of the alameen. Dear brothers and sisters, when we read some of the texts that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam prophesied, and we look at our situation now, increasingly find ourselves that we nod our heads and say, this is the time that the Prophet prophesied. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned in numerous ahadith of trials. The Prophet said, "Ta'awadhu min al-fitan." Seek refuge with Allah from the trials. مَا ظَهْرَ مِنْهَا وَمَا بَطَنَ. The apparent and the hidden. To seek refuge in Allah from those fitan. And Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, بَادِرُوا بِالْعَمَالِ فِتَنًا كَقِطَلِ اللَّيْلِ الْمُظْلِمِ يُصْبِحُ رَجُلُ مُؤْمِنًا وَيُمْسِي كَافِرًا أو يصبح كافرا ويمسي مؤمنا يبيع دينه بعرض قليل. Prophet said, race to do good actions. Trials like portions of the dark night. A man will wake a believer, and in the evening he will become a disbeliever. Or he will wake a disbeliever, and in the evening he will be a believer. He will sell his religion for a miserly price. And Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Yushaku an takuna khayra mal muslim ghanam." A time will come when the best of the wealth of a Muslim will be sheep. The Prophet said, يَتْبَعُ بِهَا شَعَفْ الْجِبَالِ. That he will take it and go to the highest peaks of the mountains. وَمَاكَ الْكَلَى. And he will go off and take his sheep to the pastures where there is pasture. يَفِرُّ بِدِينِهِ مِنَ الْفِتَنِ. He will flee with his religion from the trials. When we read these texts, where the Prophet ﷺ was warning about these trials, increasingly we find ourselves saying, yes, these are the trials, we are seeing them with our eyes. The Prophet ﷺ prophesied them and we are living them. We are living those fitan. The Prophet ﷺ said, a time will come, يُكْثَرُ فِيهِ الْهَرَجُ وَالْمَرَجُ. Killing will become plenty. To the extent a man will say, reason am I being killed? We see those trials upon us today. And when those trials come upon us, what is the mockup of the Muslim? How am I supposed to now behave? Some Muslims, they imitate the ostrich. What does the ostrich do? Well, it's a big animal and a strong animal, and it can defend itself, and it can run at great speed. But eventually, what does the ostrich do? When its enemy is surrounded, it buries its head in the sand. The ostrich buries its head in the sand, and its thinking is that if I can't see my enemy, then my enemy can't see me. Illogical. But many Muslims, they follow the same pattern. We bury our heads in the sand and we ignore what is happening. And there's no doubt that this is not the correct path. Now, before you start to read between the lines and think, what is the Shaykh telling us to do? Brothers and sisters, the time of trials. And don't forget that these trials, they happened at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Trials befell the Muslims. The difference between them and us, one of the principal differences at least, was the Prophet was with them. So he advised them. He told them into times of trials to do this or do the other. And now the Prophet isn't with us. Does that mean now that we have nobody to guide us and nothing to guide us? Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala tells us in this ayah, and I'm sure that many of us have read this ayah, but how often have we contemplated the meaning of this ayah? Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says in Surah An-Nisa, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذا جاءهم أمر من الأمن أو الخوف أضاءوا به. And when there comes to them news of security or fear, they spread it. They lend ear to it and they spread it. And then Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says, وَلَوْ رَدُّوهُ إِلَى الرَّسُولِ وَإِلَى الْأُولِي الْأَمْرِ مِنْهُمْ لَعَلِمَهُ الَّذِينَ يَسْتَنبِطُونَهُ مِنْهُمْ. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says, and if they had referred it to the apostle and to those in authority among them, those among them who can search out the knowledge of it and would have known it, yani the Prophet ﷺ. And Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala then says, وَلَوْلَا فَضْلُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَتُهُ لَاتَّبَعْتُمُ الشَّيْطَانَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. Allah's Messenger ﷺ says, and were it not for the grace of Allah upon you and His mercy, you would have certainly followed the shaitan, save a few. If we look at our affairs today, one of the things that every single Muslim and every non-Muslim does is that we like to keep informed of what is happening around us and in the world. So we watch every single news channel. In fact, the news channel is on 24/7. What's happening in the world? What's happening there? What's happening here? This is all we find ourselves doing. And then after we have listened to the news, we believe it. What's the proof we believe it? Well, the proof that we believe it is the fact that we spread it. The fact that we spread it means we believed it. What did the Prophet say? كَفَى بِالْمَرْءِ كَذِبًا أَنْ يُحَدِّثُ بِكُلِّ مَا سَمِعَ. Sufficient for the person to be branded a liar, that he then goes and spreads everything he hears. First mistake is that if we didn't listen to that news channel, and wallahi, every single person complains. When they listen to the news, all it does is fills them with grief and despair. And they can't do anything about it. So what was the point of listening to it? The Muslim is the Muslim who concerns himself with things that he can rectify. You can rectify it, listen to it, and rectify it. You can't rectify it because it's not in your hands, but what you do, you lend an ear to it. And then you become its mouthpiece. And what do you do? Spread fear. All you do is spread fear. Some people, that is their daiden, to spread fear amongst the community. I heard this, I know about this, all this is going to happen, it's going to be terrible. And what do? They can't rectify it, but what have they done? They've made the Muslims now fall into the back foot. Everybody now is feeling like this. We are the optimist. The Muslim is the optimist. First of all, he doesn't lend ear to that which he doesn't have any control over, and doesn't concern him. And the second thing is that when he does come across something like that, he doesn't spread it, so that he fills everybody and instills in them fear. Do you know when the radio was first developed, when it was invented and developed, there was a certain politician who said, now we have the means to control the masses. We have the means to control the masses. On this point here, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, what does He tell us? يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن جاءكم فاسق بنبأ فتبينوا أن تصيبوا قوما بجهالة فتصبحوا على ما فعلتم نادمين. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says to the believers, oh you who believe, when there comes to you a fasiq, and he comes to you with news, فَتَبَيَّنُوا, don't just believe what he said, verify it. Verify the news. And this is concerning somebody who comes to the Muslims and brings them news, who I would assume more than likely would be a Muslim. Nowadays, we have qanawat, we have television stations, 24/7. They are filling the hearts and minds of the Muslim. And we believe them. Why? Because they speak Arabic. Because they speak Urdu. So they must be right. They can't be lying. Brothers and sisters, the Muslim is the one who, if he hears something, not that he goes looking for fitan, we are looking for them. And this is why Allah's Messenger said in this ayah, and if it were not for the mercy of Allah and His fadl upon you, His merit upon you, and His mercy, you would have followed every shaitan. We are now following every shaitan. But what does the ayah tell us? What is this ayah telling us to do? That we should, if we receive some news like this, to take it to those who can then decipher and discern the truth from the falsehood, and then how to deal with that. But you know what? The house is burning from every jihah. You know, the house is on fire, and we go to put out the fire which is on the front door, and the back door is on fire as well. Because not only we don't take it to the right person, but we don't know who the right person is. Who's the right person to take this knowledge back to? Those people of knowledge. People of knowledge. People of piety. People who know the Quran and people who know the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Those are the people to take back this information to. Nowadays we're finding so much scaremongering. Muslims, they carry speech with them. They don't mean to, but this is what they're doing. And rather in these matters, they were to take it back to the scholars. And I always, wallahi, remember the statement of Ibn al-Qayyim. He says, that when we would find ourselves in a time when there was difficulties and strife and grief and fitr, and who was Ibn al-Qayyim? The ulama gave him the title Shaykh al-Islam. Shaykh al-Islam. That was because he was an ocean of knowledge of Islam. And he's saying that when we were like this, when we saw that every door was closed to us, and that we were surrounded, we would go to our teacher, Ibn Taymiyyah. And where is Ibn Taymiyyah? He's incarcerated. The bottom of a well. He's at the bottom of a well, in prison. We would go to him and we would say, advise us. And his words are that he would say words to us that we would forget all of our distress and our grief, and we would become rejuvenated. That is the door of the alim. The scholar, that he removes the fear and he removes the ignorance. I remember not very long ago here in the masjid, some people were spreading some news, and it was, I'm sure, being passed on. Everybody in the masjid here probably received that text message or that WhatsApp message. And you could sense that there were a lot of people who had fear about this matter. And there was a new Muslim who was sitting here in the masjid. And I showed him the message. I said, look at what now people are spreading. And he said something to me which was encouraging. He said, how much of this news that we are spreading is true? How much of it is true? It's conjecture. Until it comes and materializes, it's only conjecture. When it happens, we will face the issue. But until it happens, why are the people spreading it? We are instilling in each other this fear. Brothers and sisters, now, the Muslim world is at war with one another. Muslims at war with Muslims. At least people who claim to be Muslims. Isn't that fitr? Isn't that trials? We find ourselves in. So what should we be doing in these trials? We find some people marching and demonstrating, and other people spreading messages on the internet, and people doing research on the internet. And you know what? The same people who are at least apparently activists doing something, they're doing the least important thing, because they haven't rectified themselves. And they haven't rectified what is around them. They haven't done that. Wallah, they haven't done that. Remember last week when we talked about a shaitan? All of these fitan, all the people who are parcel of fitan, they are the hordes of shaitan. How do we protect ourselves from shaitan? Shaitan, what does he do? يُخَوِّفُ أَوْلِيَاهُ. He strikes fear into the hearts of his followers and allies. But Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala doesn't strike fear into his allies, but he consoles them. Glad tidings for the Muslims. Because the Prophet said, glad tidings for the Muslim. All of his affairs are good. All of his affairs are good. Regardless of how much grief you are in, all of your affairs are good. Either you believe the Prophet ﷺ and follow him, or then you have chosen to disbelieve. It's one or the other. Either we follow the Prophet ﷺ, and wallahi, if you look at our claims, When it comes to the Prophet ﷺ, how many of us claim that from the morning we wake up to the evening when we go to sleep, we are trying to follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ? But this is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. That the believer is always optimistic, because all of his affairs are good. If any evil touches him, he is patient. He is patient. And that is good for him. And when any good befalls him, he is thankful. And that is good for him. All of his affairs are good. Then why this gloom and doom? Why? Brothers and sisters, it's because we're like Qarun. And the people who saw Qarun. Qarun came out to the people in his zina with his wealth. And they said, oh, if only we had what he had. If only we had what he had. And you know what? Only the people who Allah had given them insight didn't make tamanni to have what he had. This is our problem. This is our problem. Because we don't endeavor and strive for what is with Allah, but we see the man in front of us and we say, this is what I want. We don't strive what Allah wants us to have. What does Allah want us to have? Every time Allah Ta'ala describes the Jannat, we should be in awe. What are these Jannat? You know, Allah Ta'ala, you know, when He tells us, مَا لَا عَيْنٌ رَأَتْ, upon the tongue of the Prophet, مَا لَا عَيْنٌ رَأَتْ وَلَا أُذُنٌ سَمِعَتْ وَلَا خَطَرَ عَلَى قَلْبِ بَشَرٍ. No eye has seen, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, nor has it occurred upon the heart of any man. This is what Allah has given for you. Why does Allah tell us like that? So you have shawq in your heart, the desire to see that which Allah has put away. He has hidden it from every eye because it is so. We should try every effort to be those who are the fa'izeen with this ja'iza. Which no ear has heard. It hasn't even occurred upon the heart of any man. This is what we should be endeavoring to have. Brothers and sisters, in the time of fitr, a Muslim should have patience. In the time of fitr, a Muslim should turn his affairs over to Allah. He should believe that Allah Ta'ala, He is the one who has ordained this matter. And whatever Allah has ordained will come to pass. And that it is always going to be fi salih al-Muslimin. Always for the good of the Muslimin. And that he knows that Allah Ta'ala is more merciful than 70 brothers. Allah is more merciful to you than yourself. Do you think that He will allow harm to touch you? And you should remember that this dunya is trials. And a trial only befalls you so that Allah will cleanse you of your sins. A trial befalls a person. And sometimes that trial doesn't leave the person except that it has left him clean. As if he was thrown in the washing machine with daz and given a good spin so he comes out clean. So that he walks upon the earth sinless. Allah Ta'ala, if He allows a fitna to touch you, then Allah is cleaning you of your sins. Be patient. And if you are upon this and death comes to you, wallahi, if you are patient, Jannah is waiting. All it means is for the soul to leave the body. And the fitna over. But brothers and sisters, this methodology that we're following, where we follow every single news channel, and wallahi, all of the news is the same. Every channel is the same. You will see no difference from the BBC and Arabiya. And please forgive me if I hurt anybody's feelings, but you will see no difference between them. They are the same. one and the same. Why didn't we make ihtimam with something which is more important than that? Have you ever sat with the book of Allah? Don't say 24 hours like we watch the television, not even 24 hours. Just give us half an hour. Half an hour with the Quran. The benefit that will give you, it is something which is incomparable. Brothers and sisters, this methodology that we're following now, we have to leave this. And this pessimism that we not only have in our hearts, but then we pass it on to everybody else we meet. Oh, the Masa'ib are coming now. All the madaris are going to be closed down. This pessimism has to stop. Wallahi, some brothers, you sit with them and they start to talk and you want to put your fingers in your ears. If you have nothing good to say, then shut up. Didn't the Prophet say? من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت. Say good if you believe in Allah and the last day. Say good or keep your mouth shut. We don't need any more grief. Allah is sufficient for us. If a Muslim doesn't sit idle, is the other thing. We don't sit idle and say, okay, like the ostrich, we'll stick our head in the sand and do nothing. Because this is also ignorance. But the Muslim is the one who takes all of the measures and the steps to be able to combat and overcome the hurdles. But he's not the one who spreads misery, but rather he's the one who gives hope. And this is why you find that the Prophet ﷺ, he used to say that one of the best actions that a person can do, يُدْخِلُ السُّرُورِ فِي قَلْبِ الْمُسْلِمِ, that he fills the heart of another Muslim with happiness, smiles at him. Wallahi, sometimes you see somebody and he's having a miserable day, and you sense it, so you go to him and you smile at him. And you know what? The reaction to a smile is often a smile. So he smiles. Alhamdulillah, you achieved a great thing, because now all of the grief that he felt is gone. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us a people when we hear the truth, recognize it be true, give us the ability to act on it, and also make us a people when we hear the falsehood, recognize it be false, and give us the ability to avoid it. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله ما بعد أوصيكم نفسي بتقوى الله سبحانه وتعالى في السر والعلن وصلوا وسلموا على البشير النذير فإن الله سبحانه وتعالى قد أمركم بذلك في كتابه فقال إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما وقال صلى الله عليه وسلم من صلى علي مرة واحدة صلى الله عليه بها 10. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. وارض الله عن أربعة الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي وعن سائر أصحاب نبيك أجمعين ونحن الطيبين الطاهرين. وارض اللهم عنا معهم بمنك وكرمك وجودك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين وذل الشرك والمشركين ودمر أعداء الدين واحمي حوزة الإسلام يا رب العالمين. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات. عباد الله رحمكم الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله الذي يذكركم وادعوه يستجيب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. وأقيموا الصلاة.